With all of these relationship podcasts and relationship gurus and podcast bros, and pop the balloon and all of that, we hear the word or the term emotional intelligence be thrown around a lot. And some people like to tell people that they're not emotionally intelligent and they don't even know what that means. There are people that get on these platforms and are like, oh, I'm looking for a partner that's emotionally intelligent, and they don't even know what that means. So, that is what we are going to talk about today. We are going to talk about the power of emotional intelligence, what that even is. So, I believe that emotional intelligence is literally like your invisible mojo. Like, it's like your secret sauce to help you thrive in both personal and professional life. Now, what does it really mean, first of all? Why is it important? And how do you develop it? like I said, we talk about it. We bring it up. We throw it around. But, what really does that mean? So, let's start with what it actually is. Emotional intelligence is your ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions while also being able to recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others. Psychologists usually break this down into 5 core components. The first one being self-awareness, knowing your own emotions and how they impact your thoughts and behavior. 2. Self-regulation, managing your emotions in healthy ways and not letting them control you. Motivation, staying driven and focused even when things get tough. 4. Empathy, understanding and connecting with how others feel. And 5. Social skills, building relationships, resolving conflicts, and communicating effectively. It's like a superpower. It helps you navigate challenges, build stronger relationships, and make better decisions. Where I practice this the most in my everyday life is 1, with my children, 2, with my clients, and 3, in my co-parenting relationship. So when it comes to my children, right, I cannot be upset with my children for having these big emotions and not knowing how to navigate them. Do I get overstimulated? Yes. Do I want to hear all the crying and carrying on? No. But if I don't give them the tools on how to navigate their own feelings, how are they supposed to, what are they supposed to do? I feel like a lot of us as children weren't even taught to feel our feelings. So we had these great big feelings, and because our parents didn't want to hear us cry, they would just, oh, ain't nothing wrong with you, be quiet. Well, no, something is wrong with me. That's why I'm crying. Or we're even taught to ignore how we feel for the sake of other people's comfort. That's something that I had really bad. When it comes to my clients, right? You're not going to always have a happy customer or a happy client. And also another thing that I deal with, because I don't really have too many difficult clients, but what I do deal with is people that I've made them feel comfortable, in the sense of I don't want you to feel like you got to be uptight and on edge when you're in my chair. But sometimes I feel like I've made people so comfortable that they forget that this actually is a business transaction, which can be a blessing and a curse. And so there's a part of me that used to just get frustrated, like wanting to just be like, I am not your friend, but I had to sit back and analyze and be like, okay, why did this person even feel comfortable enough to say that to me? Or why did this person even feel comfortable enough to ask me such a question? That's where that emotional intelligence comes from, is not excusing the offensive behavior of others, but seeking to understand it. Because once you understand it, it won't affect you negatively. And then another thing is, like I said, in my co-parenting relationship, it's not the easiest. I don't care how mature you are. It's not the easiest to have to talk to someone that you once loved and just kind of treated almost like I don't even want to say business transaction, but for instance, when I called off my engagement, it's not funny. I'm only laughing because because it's uncomfortable when you think about it. But he would still deal with me as if we were together. And it was very triggering for me. Like, I would set the boundaries and all of that. But one of the things that I noticed was that when he was not getting the reaction that he wanted out of me, he would try to create conflict in order to get that reaction out of me. And one of the things that I started to do was, one, I had already kind of detached from the situation. So it's not like I'm in a relationship with you to care. But we do still live together. So I didn't want it to be something that was uncomfortable for ourselves, the kids, etc. Right? And so anytime that those kind of conversations would come up, I would just like, one, it would be one of those like, hey, now's not the time. We do a lot of like talking and text message just because, you know, the kids are here. But I had to start letting it be known. Like I gave grace and I understood like, okay, this is how he feels, right? And one of the things that I don't do, or I try my hardest not to do, is like that, well, you did this. It don't even matter. We're not together. It doesn't matter. So what I've learned and the way that I practice this in my everyday life is acknowledge what is happening, acknowledge what has been said, acknowledge that you may be triggered, but then work through that. Because you also, like, being angry, being hurt, being upset, like any kind of negative emotion, period, is going to drain you. And I got enough going on in my life, and with these kids, I ain't got time to be drained. You know, my goal right now is to be the best mother that I can be for my babies. So you may wonder, why does emotional intelligence even matter? And here's the thing. It's often more important than how smart you are. Like, you can be the smartest person in the room, but if you lack emotional intelligence, like, you'll struggle to connect with people, handle stress, or adapt to change. And that goes back to like what I was talking about with the babies, right? So here are some key reasons why emotional intelligence is so crucial. It improves relationships, whether it's with a partner, a friend, a coworker. Understanding emotions, both yours and theirs, creates stronger and healthier connections. It helps with conflict resolution. When you're emotionally intelligent, you're better equipped to manage disagreements. This is what we were just talking about. You don't lash out or shut down. You listen, you empathize, and you work towards a solution. And I also want to note that, like, even if you can't work towards a solution with somebody, for myself, I will look at situations and be like, listen, I did the best that I can with what I had. Yeah, all right, well, the rest is on them. Like, if you're not stressed about it, why would I be stressed about it? You know what I mean? It reduces stress. When you manage your emotions, you're less likely to get overwhelmed or react impulsively. Instead, you stay calm and handle challenges with clarity. This is another thing that I was talking about. Like, I'm not going to be walking around here angry and pissed off and flashing on everybody for what? And then nobody wants to be around you. So you're tired, you're drained, and nobody wants to be around you. Like, no. And it helps you understand yourself. So emotional intelligence is not just about others. It's about you too. When you're emotionally intelligent, you can recognize your own triggers, set boundaries, and take better care of your mental health, which is what we talked about. So, how do you know if you already are emotionally intelligent? Here are a few signs. You're self-aware, and you can name your emotions as they arise. This is something that I work on with my babies. So if one of them are sad or one of them are angry, I make them name that emotion. I'm angry because Junior took the ball from me and I wanted to play. And then we can work out, okay, well, that's a very valid feeling. Hey, let's talk to your brother. Junior, why'd you take the ball? Oh, I took the ball because, like yesterday, this literally just happened yesterday. I took the ball because she was just holding it, she wasn't shooting it. Okay, well, let's work out a better arrangement for that. Your sister feels like you took the ball from her, I don't know, to be mean. Your sister's feelings are hurt. Did you mean to hurt your sister's feelings? No, I didn't. Okay, well, Juice, apologize for hurting your sister's feelings. Yanni, I'm sorry for hurting your feelings. That I didn't mean to. Thank you, Junior. Ayana, if you're going to play, baby, you got to shoot the ball. You can't just hold on to the ball. You want to play basketball with your brother. Your brother agreed. Okay, you got to actually play. Oh, I understand. And then it's done. But if I handled that a different way and I was just shouting at them, they're not even learning where they went wrong at. They're not even learning conflict resolution. All I'm teaching them is every time we have a problem, we can't come to mom because she's going to flash on us. And that goes into, you don't overreact to situations or let your emotions control you. You're able to step in someone else's shoes and understand their perspective. You listen more than you talk in conversations. You handle criticism or feedback without getting defensive. Now, this one I'm still working on. I'm perfectly okay with someone telling me, hey, this thing that you did or said hurt my feelings. What I don't like is I don't like being gaslit. So don't accuse me of something as a means to like get a rise out of me or make you feel better about whatever transgressions you have or whatever you've done to me. But I aim to get to a place where even when those kind of things come up, I just, remind myself mentally that like, yeah, so they're grasping for straws right now. Like, just let them have that. Don't even respond. You value relationships and work to maintain them. If some of these resonate with you, you're on the right track. And if not, don't worry. Emotional intelligence is a skill you can build with practice. And remember that a lot of us, we're not taught this. Like, let's look at our parents, okay? I literally have a book that I read, and it's called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. I suggest anybody read it. I know we're kind of boycotting right now, so I don't know if you can get it directly from somewhere else, but I did get mine off of Amazon. So, how do you improve your emotional intelligence? Because the good news is that this is actually something that you can work on no matter where you're starting from. So the first thing is practicing self-awareness. This is one of the things that I did when I really, really, really started on like my journey to self-improvement, healing my inner child, things like that. So I check in with myself. You can do this daily. You can do this throughout the day. You can do this. I kind of do like daily check-ins of myself, weekly check-ins, monthly, yearly, where I kind of sit back and I say, okay, how was my day? Especially if it was a rough day. How was my day? Okay. How could I have reacted to this and this differently? There was an altercation that happened, a verbal altercation a couple of nights ago. And I got so angry that even though I'm not like a violent person, when I get angry, I can cut you with my words. And I can be very sarcastic. And so when it was over, I didn't feel bad as far as like, no, I meant what I said, but I was disappointed in myself because I felt like I had worked so hard to not even let that particular person take me out of character, that when I did, I was like, damn. But then I had to give myself grace and say, okay, well, you know what? Speaking up for yourself is new as well. So I'm glad that we're speaking up for ourselves, but let's continue to do this in a way where we don't have to raise our voice to do it. Or let's continue to do this in a way where we don't have to be like a smart ass to do it. You know what I mean? So when you check in with yourself, you can ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What caused me to feel how I feel? And how is this emotion affecting my behavior? So when I'm in these situations, that's what I start to do with myself. I validate that, like, nah, that wasn't cool. I don't like how that made me feel. I feel like this person tried to play in my face. Okay. What caused me to feel this way? This, and this. And one of the things that I really, really try to do is, even if somebody really does have me effed up, I try to find ways that I can hold myself accountable. Whether it's, you didn't have to entertain this conversation for the jump. Because sometimes that's what it is too. Sometimes we're just entertaining conversations that are honestly beneath us. We ain't even got to do all of that. You can simply set a boundary and say, hey, so right now, I'm not doing this with you. You know what? And you could even just, I want to hear what you have to say, but right now I'm not in the space to receive it, so we need to talk about this another time. You're allowed to do that, bro. You are in charge of yourself. Another thing that I do that helps me, and this is one of the things that has been helping me for years, I don't want to say avoid confrontation, but like not getting to these like loud shouting matches with people, is to journal. I love journaling. If I'm in a space where it's too much to write, I use my voice notes and I will speak out what I'm going through. And it's a way to move that energy out of my body. And then once I speak it out and get it out of my system, then I delete it. It's like similar to like when you journal about something negative and you burn it or you throw it away. It's like the same difference, except you're not lighting things on fire or creating more trash. So, learn to pause. When you are like feeling high strung or your emotions are really high, it's very easy to react impulsively. It's very easy to just blow up. Practice pausing before you respond, even if it's a heated conversation or a stressful situation. Take a breath, process how you feel, and respond thoughtfully. One of the things that I've been doing is when I get to feeling like that, I think it's called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. I may be wrong. I'm not a therapist, so please forgive me if I have the term incorrect. But what it is it's like reminding yourself to get back into your body. So like, let's say something's going on, right? It could be something as simple as taking a deep breath, or listening to your heartbeat, or tapping something, or snapping your fingers, or something. But it's something that takes your attention off of how angry or upset you are. It kind of is one of those things. You're just creating almost like a temporary distraction, and it'll help you kind of come back into yourself. Work on empathy. So to build empathy, focus on active listening. When someone is speaking, really tune in and don't just wait for your turn to talk. This is something that I am still actively working on. And ask yourself, what might this person be feeling and how can I support them? Now, not everybody deserves that, but if it is a conversation that's important to you, you obviously want to know where the other person is coming from. You don't want to be listening to respond. And I feel like a lot of disagreements come from people listening to have something to say. They're listening to defend themselves. I have this conversation with my ex a lot where I'll be like, you're listening to defend yourself. I'm not even attacking you. If you would let me finish my thought, you wouldn't even need to have responded right here. But at the first sign of hearing, your inner child is telling you we did something bad, you're immediately looking for a way to defend yourself, as opposed to saying, okay, this person is trying to tell me how they feel about something. Develop healthy coping mechanisms. So when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, have tools in place to regulate your emotions. That may look like deep breathing, meditation, exercise, or even talking to somebody you trust. My best friend is like my emotional support bestie. Like, I really appreciate the way that she holds space for me. Because there's times where I feel like the sky is falling, and then after her, I'll be like, oh, after talking to her, it's like, oh, okay. And I love that with her, like, she will validate whatever emotion I'm feeling, but if I'm wrong, she'll tell me, like, I understand why you feel that way, but, X, Y, Z. Or if I'm not crazy, she'll tell me I'm not crazy. If I can't, one of the things that I like to do is I like to get away from whatever is causing the issue. So let's say that, like, I'm in my home and I have a disagreement with my children's father. I will go sit in my car and just take some deep breaths. And what I do so that my children don't think anything's wrong, all of my kids have phones, but I'll text my oldest son and I'll just tell him, Mommy's okay. I just needed to take a breather. I'll be up in a little bit. I just didn't want to be, in that, just sit in that energy and have y'all like seeing me in that. And he'd be like, oh, okay, I understand. And I do that because I want my children to understand that it is okay to not be okay. I'm actively teaching my children how to handle conflict because they go to school or they're in their extracurriculars and they're going to be faced with these situations. So if they see me flipping out and acting a fool all the time, what do you think that they're going to do? They're going to do what they see. Seek feedback. So that goes back to, like I said, I talk to my best friend. And so ask trusted friends or colleagues how they perceive you in emotional situations. Do they feel heard and understood by you? Are there areas where you could improve? Constructive feedback is invaluable. One of the things that I'm working on is when I'm having a conversation with a friend or a family member, one of the things that I tend to do is I will have something that may have happened to me similar to relate. And that's fine, but it doesn't need to, it's not intentional, but I do realize that there are times where when I do that, it shifts the conversation to me. When that person may have called to talk about themselves or what they're going through. So that is something that I've started to ask those around me, like, if I'm doing this, and especially if I'm doing this at a time where you really need me and you really just needed to talk to me about something, please correct me. Please tell me that I'm doing it. Because sometimes I can catch it and be like, oh, shoot, I'm doing it. I'm sorry. But if I'm not catching it, or I'm very passionate about whatever it is that I'm talking about, because sometimes you can't even slow yourself down. Sometimes you need somebody to go, hey, you're doing that thing again. So I've asked the people around me, like, hey, when I'm doing that, please correct me. I won't be upset. This is something that I'm actively trying to work on. And that's another thing is, like, employ the people around you. let them know, like, hey, well, make sure that these are safe people to talk to. But let them know, like, hey, I noticed that this right here is a thing that I do, and I'm really working to not do that anymore. So I'm just asking that if you catch me doing this, please correct me and please call me out on it, because this is something that I'm trying to unlearn. Work on your social skills. Practice expressing yourself clearly and respectfully. Whether it's through resolving conflicts or simply making small talk, every interaction is a chance to strengthen your social skills. Practice gratitude and optimism. Focus on what's going well in your life and express gratitude to others. This can help shift your mindset and improve your emotional outlook. Now, how does this show up in everyday life? In the workplace, a manager with high emotional intelligence might notice that their employee is struggling and take the time to offer support instead of piling on more pressure. I notice this a lot with my best friend. She is an LVN and she has medical assistants under her. She's literally their manager. And a lot of them, especially because it's a lot of women, they come to her and it may be something going on at home. It may be something in the workplace that has them high strung, but there's a way that she speaks into them. So yes, like on a respect level or in like a work dynamic, they do understand that this is their manager, but she is really, really big on making sure that no one feels like they're beneath her or no one feels like they're not important enough. And so if she notices someone's not all right, she'll tell them like, hey, go take a minute to yourself. The clinic is not going anywhere. You go take care of you and make sure you're okay first. And then you can come back to the rest of us. I'll take over. Don't worry about it. And I love that about her. I love that she's able to notice that. In relationships, someone with emotional intelligence might recognize when their partner's upset, even if they haven't said anything, and approach the situation with care. This is something that I myself am. I do this with everybody, though. It's not just even in like a romantic relationship. I may have a client that walks in, and it's not always the client that's like, sometimes I got clients that are bubbly regardless. But I could just feel like, something's not right. So they'll come sit down and I'm like, hey girl, how you been? And they'll be like, I'm all right. And I'll be like, what's wrong? First I'll say, is this something that you want to talk about? And if not, then I'll just say, okay, I just want you to know that you're not by yourself and I am here if you do want to talk. I know some people talk about like how clients trauma dump in their chair, but I welcome my clients talking to me because I may be the only safe space that they have. We all know that there have been people in our lives that will make us feel like we have a safe space in them, and they telling everybody and their mama your business. In your personal life, emotional intelligence may mean recognizing when you yourself are feeling burnt out and taking proactive steps to rest instead of pushing through. This is something that I am working on with myself. I just dropped a video called Dear Black Girl, You're Not Lazy, You're Tired. I feel like as minority women, period, we are expected to just be mules. We're supposed to work. We're the backbones, we're the moms, we're the everything. We're everything. And we almost feel guilty or we self-punish when we know that like I'm tired. And so one of the things that I've started to allow myself to do is when I'm tired, I'm tired. Even if I can't get rest in the moment, I will promise myself rest. So like for instance, today is Monday and I'm off work. Now, usually I spend Mondays resetting my house. So that's like, deep cleaning because no one's home except for me on Mondays. So that's deep cleaning. That's, knocking out some homework. That's getting dinner prepped ahead of time. But today I said, you know what? I'm tired. And it's a Monday, so kids are back to school. I'm sleepy. I didn't get to sleep in today, right? So I just told myself, I said, okay, I know me. I'm still working at that. So I can't completely just be like, I'm finna go take a nap. But I can give myself, like right now, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm recording. So my body still is at rest. And I don't feel like I love making these type of videos. It's therapy for me and y'all, right? So this right now is not work for me. Work for me is standing behind a chair. Even though I love what I do, but now mind you, now I'm physically getting up and moving and doing things and dealing with other people. But this for me is not work. So even this to me is rest. I get to sit down. No one's around me. In this very moment, I'm not mom, right? And I get to just do something that makes me happy. And it yes, by default it does help you all. But this is really like something that I just started to do for myself. And then I just, prayed over, if this is something that aligns with other people and it can help them, then great, God, help me find those people, or bring those people to me. But this was something that I started to do for myself. And that's a way to sow into yourself as well. Emotional intelligence is not about being perfect. It's about being aware, intentional, and compassionate in how you handle yourself and others. At the end of the day, this is one of the most valuable skills that you can cultivate, because it helps you understand yourself, connect with others, and navigate life's challenges with grace. Remember, I always say this, but all of this is a journey. It's not a destination. Keep practicing self-awareness, empathy, and communication, and you will see the difference that it makes in your relationships, career, and overall happiness. And for me, that was the biggest thing, was like, how is this positively affecting me? How is this improving my life? And I can see it everywhere. I can see it in how my children are. I can see it in how my children act. I can see it in my business relationships. I can see it in my personal relationships. And when you do that, even if you're just leading by example, you're making other people, you're giving other people tools that they probably didn't even know that they needed. Some of them probably already had them, didn't even know that they had them. There's that saying that when you change, the things around you will change. And that is the space that I'm in right now, that I'm noticing. So that is all I have for you guys today. If you found this helpful, it would mean the world to me if you would share this with somebody who might benefit. And don't forget to subscribe for more episodes like this. I really do appreciate y'all. Seriously. Thank you all for listening. And until next time, keep growing.